AI has already started automating parts of a lot of jobs like programming and office work, and now it might be coming for cybersecurity too. A few days ago, Anthropic mapped out which jobs AI could potentially replace. If you don't know Anthropic, it's the company that makes AI models like Claude. They published a report showing exactly which jobs could be affected by AI, and as you can see, there are very high chances for jobs related to computer science and mathematics to be impacted. But this raises a question. Since cybersecurity is also part of the computer and mathematics field, could it also be replaced by AI? Unlike programming and other office jobs, cybersecurity and hacking are very different. You have to think differently every time to find vulnerabilities and break into systems, and AI is not really capable of doing that yet. In this video, I have this Penlegent AI, which is being called the world's first agentic AI hacker, and we're going to test how good it actually is at hacking. I'm going to create some vulnerable setups and deliberately let this AI try to hack them. By the way, we're not attacking any real systems here. Everything I'm testing with this AI is intentionally made vulnerable for this video. Never hack anything without permission. It's illegal and can put you at serious legal risk. Okay, so I'm here on the Penlegent website, and to use it, we first need to install it on our Kali Linux. But before doing that, let me quickly explain what this thing actually is. Penlegent is an agentic AI hacker that uses tools from Kali Linux and tries to automate the process of penetration testing or bug bounty hunting. It can run commands to automate tasks and is also capable of analyzing the output to decide what to do next. To get started, you first have to sign in and then click this download button to get the installer for Kali Linux. It downloads a .deb package. If you don't have Linux, you can install it on Windows too, but it won't really work the same way because there are far fewer security tools available on Windows. Once the download is finished, we can navigate to our downloads directory and run this command to install Penlegent. Alright, so now Penlegent is installed and I can run it. As you can see, this is what it looks like when you start it for the first time. You have to log in before you can run anything, so I quickly logged in. The only complaint I have about the UI so far is that everything looks really small. I tried to find a way to increase the text size, but I couldn't find any option for that. If we walk through the interface of this tool a bit, we have this navigation bar on the top with different options. On the left side, there's a panel for our projects, and on the right side, there's this panel for our AI agent. In the middle, we have this area where we can switch between the task list, tool results, and other things. Alright, so without wasting any more time, let's run our vulnerable app and create a new project here. I have this vulnerable web app that I wrote with the help of Claude, and if I start it and open the link in my browser, you can see it right here. This web app has a lot of vulnerabilities because I intentionally made it vulnerable to test Penlegent's capabilities without running it on an environment where we don't have permission. There are vulnerabilities all over the app, like a login bypass using SQL injection. I tried the simplest payload and it worked. Anyways, in Penlegent, we'll create a new project. When you start it for the first time, you might need to set some environment variables. If you're on Kali Linux, you can usually just copy the paths that are already there, but if you're using another Linux distro or have changed something, you might need to adjust them accordingly. After saving the paths, we can now create a new project. We need to enter a project name, so let's put something here, and then the URL for our target, which in our case is this one. For the test type, we can select general penetration testing, although you can choose another option depending on what you're testing. I'm going to skip the description for now. We also want this agent mode enabled, although the mode can be changed during the test. I'm going to set the analysis depth to high. And again, don't test anything that you don't have permission to test. Once that's done, we click on Next. Then we get some optional settings, which we'll skip by clicking Next again. And finally, we click this button to confirm that we have authorization to test the target. Now, as you can see, it's doing some initial analysis. It's trying to understand the web logic of our target and creating a list of different tasks based on the information it gathers. This process can take some time, depending on the complexity of the web app. In our case, it only took a moment and created a list of tasks. These tasks are divided into different phases. As you can see, the first phase is reconnaissance, and the first task in phase 1 is web service identification and fingerprinting. And you can see I'm not doing anything here. It's handling everything automatically. On the right side, you can see the prompts being generated. If we switch to the Tool Results tab, you can see the list of commands it has run during the process. You can also see the status of each command. For example, this one was successful. If we click this button, we can see exactly what command it ran. Here's the command that was executed, and below that we can see the output it returned. In the target overview section, we can see information about the target, like which ports are open. In this case, we already specified a port, but in the next test, I'm just going to give it an IP address and let it figure things out itself. You can also see information about the web app and the endpoints it managed to discover. In the threat map section, you get a really nice visual chart showing what it has found, things like the technology stack and other details about the target. And it's only been a short time, but it has already discovered some critical vulnerabilities in our web app. You can see the summary up here in this bar. For example, it has found 2 critical bugs and 2 low severity ones. If we click on this one, it says that a debug endpoint exposes the application's secret key and environment variables. If we click this button, we can see more details about the vulnerability. Here we get the full report about the finding. In this case, the issue is with a debug endpoint that exposes a lot of sensitive information about our target. We can either click the verify button to let the tool automatically verify the vulnerability, or we can verify it manually. Right now it's running some commands, and once it gets the output from those commands, it will try to verify the bug. One more thing I noticed is that it's not completely autonomous. During the test, if it finds something important, it will stop and give you a summary. After reviewing it, you can either continue the same task, jump to another task, or create a new one. Honestly, that's probably better because it makes sure you don't miss anything important during the test. I ran it for a bit longer, and it ended up finding 7 critical bugs. Now that's not really surprising because this web app was intentionally full of critical vulnerabilities. The tool has more than 10 different phases with multiple tasks in each phase. I didn't run it long enough to complete all of them, but even with just a few tasks, it was able to find 7 critical bugs and 2 additional low severity ones. If we go to the overview section, you can see the other endpoints it discovered, and this is what our threat map looks like after finding these vulnerabilities. One more thing worth mentioning is that these automatically generated tasks can sometimes miss things. In those cases, you can create your own custom task. All you have to do is give it a name and a description, explain the type of vulnerability you're looking for, and specify the endpoint that you think might be vulnerable. After this, I stopped the web app and started this new vulnerable service that can be interacted with through the command line. We're going to create a new project for this one as well. I quickly created a new project and it again generated a list of different tasks. It managed to find the port where the service was running along with some other details. It also tried a few password-based attacks and reported a medium severity issue, but it didn't find any critical vulnerabilities. That might also be because I didn't let it complete all the tasks. Still, it worked really well for our web app. But honestly, it's not like you can just run this tool and sit back while it finds bugs for you. You still have to interact with it and at least guide it by creating tasks you want it to run. So now to answer our main question, can AI replace hackers? Probably not. It can definitely help speed up workflows and make things easier, but it can't completely replace hackers. That's all I have for this video. I hope you liked it. If you found it useful, make sure to hit the like button and don't forget to subscribe. Also, you can try out Penlegent yourself using the link in the description. I'll see you in the next video. Until then, happy hacking.